Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Hukamnama Sahib today is by Satguru Arjan Sahib Ji Maharaj in Todee Rag on Ang 711 and 712 of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Vaheguru Ji Todee Mahalla Panjava Har Bisrat Sada Khoari ता कौ धोखा कहा ब्यापै जा कौ ओट तुहारी हर बिसरत सदा खुआरी ता कौ धोखा कहा ब्यापै जा कौ ओट तुहारी रहाओ बिन सिमरन जो जीवन बलना सर्प जैसे अरजारी नव खंडन को राज कमावै अंत चलै गोहारी गुण निधान गुण तिन्ही गाए जा कौ कृपा धारी सो सुखिया धन उस जन्मा नानक तिस बलिहारी गुण निधान गुण तिन्ही गाए जा कौ कृपा धारी सो सुखिया धन उस जन्मा नानक तिस बलिहारी। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ speaking to us today. ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ begins the ਸ਼ਬਦ ਟੋਡੀ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ ਟੋਡੀ ਰਾਗ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ. And in this Shabad today, Guru Sahib Ji Maharaj puts down the two ways of living. Either you live in remembrance or you live in forgetfulness. Satguru Padshah Ji Maharaj says, the path of remembrance is a path that gives you happiness. The path of remembrance is a path that gives you fulfillment. The path of remembrance is what brings you closer to God and Guru. The path of forgetfulness is a path of pain. It's a path of poison. It's a path of burning. And that is what Satguru Maharaj Ji says in the Hukamnama Sahib today. Maharaj Ji says, Har bisrat sada khuari. Those people who bisrat, those people who walk on the path of forgetfulness and they bisrat, they forget Vaheguru. Hari, Paramatma, God, Sada Khwari. Forgetfulness, Sada, forever and forever, always leads you to Khwari. Now, Khwari can mean ruin. Khwari can mean wandering aimlessly. Khwari can mean being alone and supportless. When you forget Vaheguru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj says, don't think that by forgetting Vaheguru, that path of forgetfulness will lead anywhere else other than ruin. Forgetting Vaheguru will only lead us further and further away and down this path of ruin. Satguru Padshah Ji Maharaj Sache Padshah takes us from looking at this path of forgetfulness and shows us Sada Kuwari. The path of forgetfulness always leads us to Kuwari, always leads us to sadness, it always leads us to ruin. But on the other hand, Guruji brings us back to the path of remembrance. Ta ko dhokha kaha beapੈ ja ko ot tohari. Ja ko, that person who has ot, the support. Which support? Tohari. Vaheguru, that person who has you to support them. Oh God, that person who is walking on the path of remembrance, who has your support at every part of their life. Ta ko dhokha kaha beapੈ. How can dhokha, how can they be deceived? How can deception, dhokha means deception, how can they be deceived? Kaha byapੈ, kaha means how. Guru Sahib Ji is asking this rhetorical question, asking us this question in order to ask ourselves, oh my mind, there are two paths. One is leading to ruin and one is leading to a path where you are always supported in your life, where you cannot be deceived. And if we look, what does this mean, that person can't be deceived? Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj says us, Na ohe marhain, na thage jahe, jin ka Ram vasai man mahe. Those people who have Ram, who have Vaheguru in their mind and heart and soul, they cannot die and they cannot be deceived. The greatest deception in this world is Maya. These things in the world which look like glitter like gold, but when you touch them, they're like glass, they break to pieces. These alapasok, these little tiny pieces of sok, pieces of joy, which will remain only for a small amount of time and then turn into sadness. That person who remembers God lives in this world but remembers the joys of this world are transitory, doesn't get deceived, doesn't lose him or herself in them. Rahao. Guruji says, pause and think about this. Do you want to lose yourself in this world? Or do you want to catch hold of the remembrance of the Almighty? Bin Simran jo Jeevan Balna. Maharaji brings us back to that other point of view. Bin Simran, without Simran. Now Simran is talking about a very deep state of meditation. Simran is a constant remembrance of Vaheguru. And it begins from meditation with the tongue and becomes this Simran which happens again and again. And if you want to talk about Simran, I suggest reading Shabad by Bhagat Ravidas ji, Chit Simran Karo, Nain Avalokano. Bhagat Ravidas ji says, Chit Simran Karo, Chit Simran. Inside your consciousness, to be remembering God at all times, that is Simran. But where is that born from? That's born from meditating with your tongue, from calling out with your voice. Now Guruji says, Bin Simran. Without this path of remembrance, what happens? Jo Jeevan Balna. Balna has two meanings. Sampradai Mahapurkh have given the meaning burn, like we say, koi cheez bal diya. And on the other hand, Professor Sahib saying, and in Mahan Kosh, Balna has been translated as passing your life. And both meanings work. Bin Simran jo Jeevan Balna, Sarp Jaise Arjari. That Jeevan, those moments of your life, that life which passes without that loving remembrance of God, to take the meaning from Mahan Kosh, to translate Balna as passing, that life which passes without remembering God on the path of forgetfulness, Sarp Jaise Arjari. That lifetime is like the Arjari. Arjari means the lifetime of a, Jaise means of a Sarp, snake. Just like a snake may live for many years, but all a snake does is build up its poison. In the same way, you may do many things, but without walking upon the path of remembrance of God, ultimately all those things, even those things which you thought were sweet, will turn to poison. Now to take the Sampradayak meaning, Sampradaya meaning is that Balna means to burn. Without remembering God, a human being burns. And how does that human being burn? Just like a snake burns in its own poison. Just like a snake is burning in its own poison. In the same way, someone who doesn't remember Vaheguru is burning in their own poison. Kaam, Krodh, Kaya Kau Gal hai. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj says, lust and anger, they do not just affect other people. The lust of one person, the desire of one person, the anger of one person may manifest itself physically upon another person's body, another person's mind, but inside the mind of that person, the body of that person, even they are affected by that anger. That anger is burning them up inside. That desire is burning them up inside. Guruji goes on to explain Navakhandan ko Raj Kamave. Navakhandan. Now Navakhandan, there used to be in traditional Indian thought, there are 9 different parts of the world. Just like we say now there are 7 continents, in the same way, they used to divide the world into 9 different parts. Maharaji says, even if you were to rule over the entire earth, all 9 parts, Raj Kamave. Raj Kamave means to rule over. Ant chale go hari. In the end, you may win over many pieces of land, but you will end up, if you're walking on the path of forgetfulness, even the king of the whole world leaves this world defeated, with nothing. Satguru Padshah Ji Maharaj is saying, O human being, this path of forgetfulness leads to ruin. It leads to burning. It leads to poison inside, and it leads to you losing the greatest thing which you've got, the greatest gift from God, which is His human life. Now on the other side, Guruji brings us back to the path of remembrance. Maharaji says, Gun Nidan, Gun Tin Hi Gaye. Only those Gaye sing the praises, the Gun of Vaheguru. Gun Nidan. Gun Nidan means the treasure. Only those people sing the Gun, the praises of Vaheguru, who is the treasure of all praise, the treasure of all virtue. Jako Kirpa Tari, who have Vaheguruji's Kirpa, who have Vaheguruji's grace. O human being, if you're sitting in the Gurdwara Sahib now, repeating the name of God, that is the grace of God working within you. If you are listening to the daily Hukamnama, that is the grace of God working inside you. If you are listening to Kirtan in your car, that is the grace of God. Tinhi gaye jaku kirpa tari. Only those people can sing His praises, can sing Vaheguruji's praises, can connect to that Almighty Akal Purakh Vaheguru, that source of all joy. Only those can connect to that source, to Vaheguruji, who have Vaheguruji's grace. Maharaji says, that person who immerses himself or herself on the path of remembrance of God, so sukhiya, that person is the only one who is happy in this world. So, only that person. Tan us janma. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj says, blessed, tan is that person's janma, that person's life. Nanak tis balihari. If you ask me, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj says, I am ready to sacrifice myself for that person. Walking on the path of forgetfulness, there is poison, there is ruin, there is defeat. Walking on the path of remembrance, there is happiness, there are blessings. And on that path of remembrance, even the Guru is ready to sacrifice for that person who walks on the path of remembrance. Gun Nidan, Gun Tinhi Gaye, Jako Kirpa Tari, So Sukhiya Tani Us Janma, Nanak Tis Balihari. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.